Hey guys, it's your boy PC, and I'm the Podcast Critic coming to you live exclusively on YouTube. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it, guys. What happens when Joe Rogan, the king of open questions, meets Dr. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's most outspoken archaeologist? You get something kind of like this.
I want to show them the hieroglyphic.
Why do you always feel like you're in battle with people?
Because they attack me. Go
okay,
to
I understand
go. I'm not in a
that-
battle with people.
I
They are in the battle with me.
I understand that. But I'm giving you an opportunity to just lay things out. You don't have to argue with people that aren't.
At this point, you might be wondering who exactly this guy is. Hawass is a former minister of antiquities in Egypt, a man who has personally overseen major excavations at Giza, Saqqara, and the Valley of the Kings. But he's also been accused of being a gatekeeper, shutting down ideas that don't align with his own narrative. Sort of something like this guy back in the day. Let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we?
Who's paying for the energy? Where are you getting the energy from? It's an energy thing.
But I would think that would be very valuable. I mean, think about how many people buy
It's not
bottles of
valuable
water.
enough yet. That's the point.
Well, is it that?
It's pure.
or
It's
is it
just money, dude. It's just money.
And eventually, these shenanigans led to...
Seems like you're frustrated by all the various questions. But it seems like you seem a little defensive there. Am I right?
No, because I thought you were taking your why to ultimately.
I think you guys are starting to get an idea of the type of guy we're dealing with. Anyway, as I mentioned earlier, one of the hallmarks of Joe Rogan's reporting is his open-mindedness. Perhaps the reason why he's able to conversate with so many genres of guests. Along with this is his innate passion for the unknown. And at the forefront of lost civilizations and alien conspiracies is none other than Mr. Graham Hancock, a similarly open-minded fellow.
If there's any time in history where you could go in a time machine and go back and observe, would that be the time?
I am just completely fascinated by the Ice Age at the moment.
If you had one shot to go back and see what it was like in some place, you wouldn't go to the construction of the Great Pyramids?
I think right now where I'd go is 12,800 years ago in the beginning of the Younger Dryas.
So you can only imagine Joe's frustration that the so-called scientist, who first claims he's not a scientist and then later states that he is one, how original, isn't even willing to discuss the idea of topics that are clandestine and unknown. So much for being the most open-minded man in Egypt, I guess.
You don't think there's anything out there? Nothing. So you don't believe in ancient civilizations capable of advanced construction?
But Joe,
you don't believe in aliens?
Joe,
you don't believe in carbon dating?
I am a scientist.
Oh.
If you believe in something, write an article. Then I can read. But don't give me a theory.
But the theory of planets containing intelligent life is...
No, that's not true. I have been debating Graham Hancock and Robert Bafal and John Anthony West, and I told them from the beginning, your theory will go with the wind.
To the surprise of almost no one, these final comments ended the podcast. As you can imagine, closed-mindedness makes any intellectual mind quite flaccid. You can even hear the sarcasm in Joe's voice when Hawass claims to be a scientist for the millionth frickin' time, all the while contradicting prior statements. I suppose inconsistency and strife are no stranger to the career of Hawass. As the podcast critic, I like to do my own research. And let's just say that I may have found a track record or two of his hostilities. Here's my final analysis. Throughout the podcast, viewers notice Hawass's inconsistent statements. Sometimes he credits collaborative teams. Other times he acts as if he alone made major discoveries. This inconsistency raises eyebrows. Archaeology is inherently collaborative. So why does Hawass frequently imply he discovered everything himself? Does this diminish his credibility? Personally, I do think it raises a red flag at the very least. You see, within academia, there is a practice of giving those who pave the way their flowers, aka citations. My guess is that Hawass's work is not purely his own discovery, but rather the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And the leprechauns who guided him to it were his predecessors and colleagues alike. Sir Isaac Newton famously once said, "I stand on the shoulders of giants," which is to say that he acknowledges the thinkers that came before him, that helped to formulate his own discoveries. This humility, unfortunately, is not present in Hawass. Regarding the podcast as a whole, ultimately, this wasn't a conversation. I felt it was more of a collision. And what I mean by that is we have Joe Rogan, who is, I would say, remarkably open-minded versus Mr. Close-minded. And I felt that his dealings were remarkably patient with Egypt's very own Indiana Jones, and that Hawass, he could probably use a lesson in public relations, especially if he wants to continue to sell that book he doesn't shut up about. My question to the viewers: do you guys believe in the claims that Hawass makes? Or do you, like me, find this closed-minded disposition rather curious? Leave a comment down below, and do let me know what you guys think. And that's it for today's video. Subscribe and like if you guys love this video. Stay tuned for more content.